Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Digimon deck profile video. So today I'm going to be taking a look at BT-06, and in BT-06 we have a lot of new and powerful cards to build some new and exciting decks with. And in today's video I'm going to be talking about the Gabumon Bond of Friendship deck. So the Gabumon Bond of Friendship deck is looking to be one of the more powerful decks coming out of BT-06 just because it has a very unique playstyle in which it's taking advantage of multiple different warps to go from your rookie to your megas in basically zero time at all. So that type of ability is making this deck really powerful because not only just Gabumon Bond of Friendship has the ability to do lots of multiple attacks, but we also have AncientGarurumon to be playing with that also has a warp, and that's kind of the whole idea of the deck, is just utilizing those two abilities to warp and deal lots of damage out of nowhere, while essentially playing a Rookie Rush or Champion Rush style of deck in the meantime. So without further ado, onto the deck profile. Starting off with the Digitama, I'm going to be running 4 copies of Upamon. So Upamon is still one of the best Digitamas that we have to be playing around with because it's probably one of the easiest and most generic ways we have of drawing cards. And because we are, I guess, a Rookie Rush-esque style a deck, even though we are going to be evolving, it's still always nice to have as much card draw as we possibly can, ensuring that our deck is going to be as consistent as it possibly can on seeing the cards we need to see. So what's making Upamon so good is its inheritable ability of when attacking once per turn. If the opponent has a Digimon with no Digivolution sources in it in play, then we get to draw 1 card, and it's not hard for the opponents to just have a Digimon with no Digivolution sources in it in play, and we could even use a couple of cards that Blue has as a whole to try to get them to have a Digimon with no Digivolution sources. And then as far as the 5th Digitama, it could really be anything you want it to be. I'm just choosing to use 1 copy of DemiVeemon from BT-02 because it is a nice generic way of allowing our Digimon to gain some extra DP, at least on our higher levels. So what this card is doing is it has the nice inheritable ability of during your turn once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, then it gets plus 1000 DP. So on all of our higher levels, namely our level 6s and our level 7s, they are going to be unsuspending quite a lot, so this is just going to be a really easy way of giving them an extra 1000 DP, ensuring that they're going to be living or have a higher chance of living through their security checks. Next, on to the rookies, I'm going to be running 4 copies of Gabumon. So I like to call this Gabumon Strabimon just because he has this nice on-play ability of allowing us to draw a card. And that's really all we're using him in the deck for, is the fact that he is a Gabumon that helps us draw cards. Next, I'm going to be running 4 copies of Strabimon. So Strabimon is acting as another really decent rookie that we want to use for his on-play ability, because his on-play ability allows us to check the top 3 cards of our deck and add a Digimon with hybrid in its form and or a blue Tamer card among them into our hand, and then the rest go onto the bottom. So this is just, again, another card acting as some good card draw to try to help with the overall consistency of the deck, ensuring that we want to try to find our key and important pieces as best as we possibly can. Next, I'm going to be running 4 copies of Gabumon. So this is the BT-06 Gabumon, and so this Gabumon is really good because he has this nice all turns ability where once per turn, when we play a Tamer card with Matt Ishida in its name, then we get to gain 1 memory. So this just makes playing our Matt Ishida Tamers a little bit more efficiently, and that's what we're really trying to gain out of the card, is just try to help with the overall efficiency of the deck. On top of which, this is a really important Gabumon because it has this nice inheritable ability of when attacking once per turn. If this Digimon is Gabumon Bond of Friendship, then we get to unsuspend this Digimon. So this is the key Digimon to digivolving our Gabumon into Gabumon Bond of Friendship with, just because he's going to add that additional attack to add to the amount of attacks he normally has before. Next, I'm going to be running 2 copies of ModokiBetamon. So this is kind of a flex spot of the deck. It could really be anything you feel like you want it to be, but I really like what ModokiBetamon is doing because it's essentially the Terriermon for blue. So what this card is doing is during all turns that the opponent can't gain memory except by Tamer effects. So just being able to lock the opponent out of being able to gain memory helps you kind of control and manipulate and limit some of their actions, so that way they have to try to play around this card in order to do some of the stuff that they might want to try to do. And then the last rookie of the deck is going to be 2 copies of Gabumon. So this is the brand new promo Gabumon, and so this Gabumon is looking to be pretty good for the deck because it's essentially acting the exact same as Agumon all the way back in BT-01. where we're really just trying to use its on-play ability to just check the top 5 cards of our deck and add any Tamer among them into our hand, and the rest go to the bottom. So we are going to be playing quite a bit of Tamers, so finding our Tamers is super important, so that's why we run Gabumon in complements to Strabimon to ensure that we could see our Tamers as often as we possibly can. Next, onto the level 4s, I'm going to be running 3 copies of Lobomon. So this is the BT-04 version of Lobomon, and this Lobomon is still really good just because he has this nice powerful ability where we could Digivolve this card from our hand on top of one of our blue Tamers as if it was a level 3 Digimon. So this is really nice because we could utilize our Tamers in some additional ways to try to use them to help push the aggression by hopefully Digivolving Lobomon on top of one of our Tamers to get an extra swing with out of nowhere. And that's looking to be pretty powerful considering the deck already just has a whole bunch of attacks it could line up out of nowhere, just adding to the overall power and potential of the deck. But at worst, we could use Lobomon as just a generic level 4 to just try to have some extra board presence and get some extra card draw that way. So Lobomon is a really good card to be used in the deck because he has lots of different ways that you could use him, all depending on the different situations that could arise. Next, I'm going to be running 4 copies of Lobomon. So this is the promo Lobomon, and this Lobomon is really good because he has this nice, powerful when Digivolving ability where we could Digivolve this card into AncientGarurumon from our hand for the low memory cost of 1 and ignore the rest of the Digivolution requirements, but it does get deleted at the end of the turn. So this is really powerful because it's essentially another warp point, and that's kind of the whole point of the deck, is you're basically just going to be going from rookie to your mega level Digimon with very little effort, and Lobomon is just another card to help us warp into a different mega level Digimon than Gabumon Bond of Friendship. So that's looking to be really powerful because it just helps us push the overall aggression because the opponent might not be anticipating or could play around us going from rookie to mega level Digimon, and that's just what's making Lobomon really good. We're almost never going to be using his inheritable ability, although you could build the deck to kind of accommodate it a little bit, where during your turn, when you Digivolve this Digimon into an AncientGarurumon from your hand, then you get to reduce its Digivolution cost by 2. So if you are actually playing any ultimate level Digimon in the deck, then this is really good because it allows you to tempo into your AncientGarurumon more efficiently than you could before. And then the last champion of the deck is going to be 2 copies of Cordramon. So this is the Cordramon that comes from the Ulforce Vidramon starter deck, and this is a really powerful card because this is a security Digimon. So its security ability states that at the end of the battle, we get to play this card for free, and it has a really powerful on-play ability where we get to draw 2 cards. So this is looking to be really good because not only is it helping us draw cards, but if it does get checked in the security, then we get to use its security ability to have an extra Digimon on the field to apply lots of additional pressure onto the opponent. So this is just looking to be a really good card, even at worst if we need to just use it as an Evo to just get off of our rookies and have just a champion sitting on the field, then you could do that as well, all making Cordramon a really good card for the deck. Next, on to the ultimates. I'm not running any. So the whole point of the deck is to basically just warp from your rookie into your mega level Digimon, so as such, we don't need any ultimates because that's a stage of evolution we're not even attempting to try to go into. So I'm just going to be skipping straight over to our megas, and I'm going to be running 4 copies of AncientGarurumon. So AncientGarurumon is a really powerful card because, yes, he does have the interaction with the promo Lobomon, where we could warp from our promo Lobomon into AncientGarurumon, and that's looking to be pretty powerful because essentially the whole idea is we're going to raise out our rookie, Digivolve into Lobomon, then Digivolve Lobomon into AncientGarurumon. So that's the whole intended line of play for AncientGarurumon to be playable, and AncientGarurumon is just looking to be a very powerful card in his own right because he has some relatively large stats. We could get up into him relatively easily, and he has this nice when attacking ability where once per turn, we get to unsuspend 2 of our Digimons with Garurumon in their name or hybrid in their form. So this essentially just allows him to multi-attack, and if we have any other hybrids on our field, so if we do have the BT-04 Lobomon just sitting on our field, or we have a Strabimon that was able to live through a security check, then we could stand those Digimon up and get some extra attacks out of them that way. So he's looking to be pretty powerful just because of all of his extra attacks, and on top of that, he even has an on-delete ability where we get to play a blue level 4 or lower hybrid Digimon from our hand for free. So the whole idea is with the promo Lobomon is when we use the warp, he's going to end up dying, and then when he dies, we get the on delete ability off to replay basically any of the hybrids that we're going to be running in the deck. And then as far as the last mega of the deck, it's going to be 4 copies of Gabumon Bond of Friendship. So Gabumon Bond of Friendship is an absolutely insane card just because of how powerful this card is. So what this card is doing is it has a nice when attacking ability where once per turn, if we have a Tamer in play, we get to unsuspend this Digimon. So by default, he's going to be able to get 2 attacks, and then with the combination of Gabumon over here, he's going to be able to get a 3rd attack, and that's looking to be pretty good because that's just 3 swings out of nowhere on a mega leveled body that you could then figure out ways of redoing again and just try to win off of the sheer amount of attacks that you could have. And then on top of that, he even has a nice when attacking ability where we get to return one of the opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon back to the bottom of their deck, and then we get to trash all Digivolution sources underneath that Digimon. So this is not limited to once per turn, so with those multi-attacks, we could just keep putting a Digimon to the bottom of the opponent's deck, and that's looking to be pretty good because we could use this mainly to just get rid of pesky blockers, so that way we could have our Digimon basically be unblockable. Unless there are blockers on a Mega level Digimon, then we can't really do much about that, but I digress, and Gabumon Bond of Friendship with all of his multi-attacks and the fact that he also is acting as some good removal is why Gabumon Bond of Friendship is really good. Next, on to the options, I'm going to be running 2 copies of Howling Memory Boost. So Howling Memory Boost is looking to be a pretty good card because of all of its different utility that we could use this card with in the deck. So first, it has the nice main ability of trashing 2 Digivolution sources off of the bottom of one of the opponent's Digimon. Then, one of the opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution sources can't attack or block until the end of the opponent's next turn. So this is really good offensively and defensively. Offensively, we could use this to turn off a blocker, and we could use this defensively if we need to, where we could just turn off one of the opponent's Digimon from actually attacking, so that way if we are trying to play this damage race game, then we put the opponent off of their damage count because one of their Digimon can't attack and actually aggress onto us. So it has plenty of utility on its first ability alone, but one of the other main reasons why we're playing this card is the fact that it is a memory boost card, and it does have the main ability of delay. So instead of trashing this card after its activation, it goes onto the battlefield, and we can't use the ability right away, but we could save it for a later turn to just gain it to memory whenever we feel like. So that's really, really powerful because we could use said memory to enhance and extend some of our plays, making more powerful plays possible than what the opponent might be anticipating. Although, I guess they could anticipate it, considering they are just seeing the fact that you could gain 2 memory at any time, but I digress, and it's still looking to be a pretty powerful card for that ability also. And it has the security ability to allow itself to be played onto the battle area, so that way you could gain the 2 memory whenever you feel like during your turns, which again just allows you to enhance and extend some of your plays. Next, I'm going to be running 2 copies of Rattlestar. So Rattlestar is going to be, I guess for all intents and purposes, the big removal option of the deck. You could kind of tech the deck to run a little bit more removal options instead of some of the other tech that I'm running, and Rattlestar is looking to be a pretty good option to be using because it has the nice main ability where one of the opponent's Digimon that's level 5 or lower gets bounced back to the opponent's hand, and then if the opponent has 3 or more Digimon in play, then you get to return one of the opponent's Digimon to the bottom of their deck instead. So this is looking to be really good because if the whole idea of us just trying to swing into the opponent's security, there's a very high chance that our Digimon are going to get deleted or end up deleting themselves. So the opponent can easily rack up a very large field, and we could use Rattlestar to our advantage to just remove any one of their Digimon. But at worst, just being able to efficiently bounce a level 5 back to their hand can still be pretty good and still be pretty devastating depending on the matchup and the situations that arise. And then it has the nice security ability of activating its main, so we could use it as a really good defensive card when checked in our security to try to get rid of a body there. Next, I'm going to be running 2 copies of Blue Memory Boost. So Blue Memory Boost is, well, another Memory Boost card, except the big difference is it has the nice main ability to allow us to look at the top 4 cards of our deck and add 1 blue Digimon among them into our hand, and then the rest go to the bottom. So this is just helping with the overall consistency of the deck, ensuring that we could try to find our Digimon as best as we possibly can. So it's really good for that, and it also has the delay ability as well, where we could use it later to gain 2 additional memory with the same security ability as Howling Memory Boost to just play it onto the field, so that way we could use the delayed ability to gain 2 memory whenever we feel like. So it's just looking to be another really good card to help with the overall consistency and power of the deck. And then the last option card of the deck is going to be 4 copies of Hammer Spark. So Hammer Spark is still a pretty good card for the deck to be running just because, well, it's Hammer Spark. Just generically being able to gain 1 additional memory just helps us create lots of more powerful plays than we normally would possible, which is just really good. And then it has the security ability of gaining 2 memory, which is effectively taking away 2 memory from the opponent, and that could be pretty important as a really solid defensive card in the security. So it's just, well, still a really good card in the deck if you want to be running it, but you don't have to necessarily be hard locked to always running Hammer Spark, because we do have the memory boost cards to play around with to try to gain us some memory that way. So if you feel like you want to cut Hammer Spark for something else, by all means do so. I just still feel like for what the deck is trying to do, Hammer Spark is really good at helping you manipulate the memory for some very powerful plays, or to try to shut down some of the opponent's plays. And then lastly, onto the Tamers, I'm going to be running 3 copies of Davis. So Davis is still just a very important Tamer to be running in the deck because he's going to be our dedicated memory fixing Tamer. So if our memory is ever less than 3, he'll always hard set it to 3, and that's really good because we're basing a lot of our plays off of 3 memory, and we're also basing a lot of the plays off of the possibility of the opponents being at 3 memory, which could be really, really important to be playing around. So having Davis help fix our memory is really good, on top of the fact that he has this nice on-play ability, where we get to reveal the top 3 cards and add 1 blue and 1 green Digimon among them into our hand, and the rest go to the bottom. We're not really running any green Digimon, so we're using this just to grab any blue Digimon revealed off the top 3, which, again, like Blue Memory Boost, helps with the overall consistency of the deck, ensuring that we could find the pieces that we want to be looking for. And then the last Tamer of the deck and last card of the deck is going to be 4 copies of Matt. So this is the brand new Matt Ishida coming out of BT-06, and this card is super important because it's what's making Gabumon Bond of Friendship as playable as he possibly can be, and allowing us to warp up into him and utilize him in some very powerful and devastating ways because of that warp. So what this card is doing is, first, he has this nice ability where during your turn, when one of your Digimon with Gabumon or Garurumon in its name is moved out of your raising area to the battle area, then we get to gain a memory and draw a card. So that's already looking to be really, really good, just because, we're already playing lots of Gabumons, and just moving it out of raising is just rewarding us by gaining some additional resources, and we could use those resources in some very powerful ways. Well, 1, the memory helps just us be more memory efficient, and 2, the card draw just helps us dig and see our cards more consistently. So it's looking to be really good there, and on top of which, the main reason why we're playing the card, well, I guess its first ability is already really good, but the other main ability is we get to, once per turn, Digivolve one of our Gabumons into Gabumon Bond of Friendship from our hand by paying its Digivolution cost and ignoring its level requirement. Then, if we do, we get to trash the top 2 cards of our security stack. Then, if we have 1 or more cards in our security stack, then we get to delete the Digimon at the end of the turn. So that seems like it's not really worth doing to Digivolve all the way up into Gabumon Bond of Friendship, but if we're able to race the opponent, then doing this a couple of different times allows us to just, yes, burn our own security, but it allows us to aggress onto the opponent's security rather easily off of our Gabumons, and that's the primary reason why we want to be playing Matt, is just so we could utilize our Gabumons to Digivolve into Bond of Friendship to try to get as many attacks off as we possibly can, and keep using this ability to just deal as much damage as we possibly can, even though, yes, we are kind of hurting ourselves at the end of the day. It doesn't necessarily matter if we are able to kill the opponent. And then there's still just a whole bunch of other tech and tools that you could use in the deck, all depending on what you want to gain out of the deck and how you want to be playing the deck. So you could consider using the DemiVeemon from the starter deck, just because this DemiVeemon's really good at helping to DP boost your Digimon. And then on top of that, if you want, you could consider running Veemon, just because the BT-03 Veemon has jamming, so he's a really good card to aggress with early on. Then we have Gabumon from BT-05, just to act as another Gabumon, and this Gabumon is helping search out our Garurumons, so if you want, you could run Garurumons and Omnimons to just try to help this card be more consistent, but at worst, you could use this card to just use as a Gabumon and help search out your Ancient Garurumons, which could be pretty good. And then you have the new Gabumon to use from the new starter deck as well, just because this Gabumon is helping DP boost your Digimon while being another Gabumon. Then as far as some alternate level 4s you could think about, you could play Garurumon, just because we're not really looking to Digivolve past our level 4s anyway, and we could use him like Lobomon to Digivolve on top of a Tamer, which could be pretty good at helping close out games, and he even has another when attacking ability of his own to bounce the opponent's level 3 Digimon. So this is really good just because it's another very powerful card for the deck to be interacting with. Just as one thing to note, just because his name is Garurumon doesn't mean he's actually treated as a Garurumon. He is similar to Burning Greymon, where he's not really a Greymon. And then we also have Garurumon from BT-05, just because he is looking to be pretty good because he interacts with our Gabumons, allowing us to Digivolve into our Garurumon here for only 1 memory, because he's gaining the memory back because we could Digivolve him on top of our Gabumons, so that could be pretty good there. And if we do choose to use a full evolutionary chain, his inheritable ability to permanently boost a Garurumon or Omnimon by 1000 DP could be pretty good. And then if you want to run a blocker of the deck, you could choose to run either Coelamon or Grizzlymon, just because they're both really good cards at, well, being blockers. I personally don't feel like this style of deck needs any blockers, just because we are a full aggro deck, so we're trying to push our aggression more than stave off the opponent's aggression. But again, we do have blockers that you could think about utilizing. And then we do have a new very powerful level 4 in the form of Octomon, just because he's a level 4 with 7000 DP, allowing us to be really aggressive with the card. He's going to be able to beat over most of the level 4 blockers that you'd be encountering. Then if you do want to run some level 5s, we do have Beowulfmon to be really annoying because he has jamming and the ability where the opponent can't attack into him as long as he has a Tamer or hybrid underneath him, which could be pretty good because it's just, again, a consistent form of aggression. Then we have Gabumon to think about, just because Gabumon has this nice Digiburst 2 ability to bounce one of the opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon back to the hand, and then he also has this nice inheritable ability to DP boost our Digimon by 2000 during our turn, as long as we have a Tamer in play, so both of those abilities are looking to be pretty good. Then we have Garurumon Sagittarius mode, so if we do want to run a Garurumon type package, then Sagittarius mode's really good because he's acting very similar to Beowulfmon, where he could just have jamming as long as he has a Garurumon underneath him, and during all turns he's going to be boosting our high-level Garurumons or Omnimons by 1000 DP permanently, so that's, again, really good on top of his unique ways we could use to evolve them. And one of the best Garurumons to combo with Sagittarius mode is going to be the promo Garurumon, and he has the nice inheritable ability of giving you security attack +1 for doing that, on top of him being able to multi-attack as long as he's Digivolved on top of a Garurumon. So that's just, again, another really good card to be using to try to help close out games with. And we even have Aerovedramon that is, again, acting very similar to Garurumon, where he's interacting with the fact that we want to have 8 or more cards in our hand to gain security attack +1 for additional security checks on top of all of our multi-swings, and he natively has the jamming ability, allowing him to aggress himself, similar to how Sagittarius mode and Beowulfmon would be working. And then as far as other options go, it would probably just be more removal options, just because we do actually have some really decent removal options we could be playing around with. So we could be running Kakaitis Breath just to generically bounce anything back to the opponent's hand, or we could run V-Wing Blade, just because this is basically a slightly weaker version of Kakaitis Breath, where it only allows us to bounce level 6 or lower Digimon back to their hand. But essentially, this is just what Gabumon Bond of Friendship kind of looks like. It's just trying to basically play this like pseudo-Rookie Rush style of gameplay while taking advantage of a lot of possible warps to Digivolve into your high levels as quickly as you possibly can to try to deal as much damage as you possibly can. And then afterward, you just try to use whatever cards you have left to try to close out the game that way. So it's just a very powerful deck, and it's a deck that shouldn't be slept on, and it has a couple of different ways that you could build it, all depending on the types of tools that you want to support it with. But I like what I have here just because it looks very clean and very powerful, doing lots of really strong things. So that's all I really have for this video. As always, feel free to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and down in the description below are a couple of different ways you could support me and the channel. So I do have a TCG Player affiliate link, so when you use that link to buy cards off of TCG Player, then some of that money will go to supporting me and the channel. I also do make and sell playmats over on Overcard Gamers on Facebook, so when you buy a playmat with my design, then some of that money will also go to help supporting me and the channel. And on top of all of that, I do have a Twitch account over on twitch.tv/Zenitsu, so giving me a follow and a subscription also helps support me there, and I do play Digimon on top of various other games on that platform as well. So that's all I really have for this video. So with all that being said and done, thank you for watching, and I hope you subscribe. So thank you everyone for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.